Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Jay-Z from 12th and St. Clair, week 29. Really happy to have Riley with me today. Riley Selig-Addiss. Riley, you're teaching 7th grade math.
Sixth grade math, sixth grade math.
6th grade math over at Citizens Leadership Academy, one of the breakthrough schools. Big bit of a difference between teaching math in the classroom and teaching it remotely, huh?
Yeah, definitely has been a big change. I think that it was good that we had so much time before the school year started to try to learn how to adapt everything and get familiar with the technology. But yeah, it's been really different, but I think things are going okay.
Yeah, you guys worked hard to get prepared. I think you came back to school like early August, right? All the teachers?
Yeah, so we did 5 weeks of professional development before the school year started.
That's amazing. Just so people can get an idea, can you just, I think you sent me yesterday a recording. It was like a 90-minute class, wasn't it? Your math class?
Yeah, so the way at CLA we're doing math and English, there's a 60-minute lesson and then 30 minutes of personal pathways. So we switched our curriculum over to iReady for math so that we do the content lesson and then students work on individual skills based on their test scores for 30 minutes after class.
So when you're doing your lesson, I noticed you were actually live with the kids, and I could only see you and maybe one kid every once in a while, but you can see them all kind of, because I know you were calling on kids and pointing.
Yeah, definitely. Teacher's best friend right now is having 2 screens, one for your students and one for the content. That way you can kind of like call on students and see what they're doing, but also on your main screen see their work and keep their work up so you can help them out with that.
That's awesome. What have been some of the challenges with this remote learning?
I think the 2 biggest challenges so far, one is obviously making connections. It's incredibly difficult to read the emotions and reactions of students virtually, especially when you don't have relationships with them before, which is different than when we did virtual in the spring and you already knew everybody really well. And then I think the other challenge is having high rigor activities. Because discussion can be complicated over Zoom. You don't just have a table where students are sitting around. So figuring out ways to have high level rigor where students are really active and leading the conversation takes a lot of work.
Is it getting any easier, or is it just going to be really tough all year?
I mean, it's definitely getting easier. It's not, first of all, I don't think it's easy in person either. I don't think it's an easy thing to do. But I think that one of the benefits for me at least has been that we have weekly professional development between schools. So I work with other 6th grade math teachers, and that helps with collaborating ideas, because that means every time any teacher has a good idea, we can all copy it. So there's multiple things in my lesson that I do that I didn't come up with, which is a little bit different, but they're really engaging and it's helped with my students a lot. So that's been beneficial.
Sorry, I was going to ask you what some of your joys are in this thing. With the bright spots, you probably mentioned one of them, collaboration. Is there any other personal moments of joy?
Yeah, I think that one of the things a lot of teachers have noticed that's easier is seeing student work actively, because it's right on your computer screen, so you can see like 20 pieces of student work at the same time. And what's actually been really cool is because I can see it and I can highlight it for the whole class, so I can pull up one student's work and everybody will see it. Students will private message me and be like, show my work, show my work, show my work. So seeing that pride has brought a certain element of fun to the classroom, and students get really invested in getting their work shown. So that's been nice.
Well, it sounds like they're really engaged. I mean, if they're like chatting with you in the Zoom chat box saying, show mine,
Yeah, definitely. I think the difference between an okay lesson and a good lesson plan makes a huge difference. So as I kind of mentioned before, it can be difficult. But when you set it up correctly, I mean, the students are definitely willing to engage and they'll have fun with it.
Good. Personal learning for you through all this. Any reflections? What have you learned?
There's no substitute for students doing the work themselves. Modeling, presenting information, talking, that's not really teaching. It wasn't in the classroom and it's not online. So if you're just presenting information to them because that's what's easy over Zoom, you're not really going to get anywhere. And that's important to remember as we transition back into the classroom, where you need to have students leading and doing it themselves.
Well, I would guess, I would think it would be the same, but maybe has this brought out that ability more because it's kind of remote and you can...
Yeah, I mean, I just think you have to be a lot more creative about it. And so that pushes you to spend more time thinking about how can you get students to participate and lead and talk with each other. And hopefully that will translate when we get back into the classroom. We'll have more strategies to do that.
So what do you think? Technology, now that we took the leap, we were forced to take the leap into heavy duty technology, right? I mean, all of the schools had some technology, but now we're in it, we're in it all the way. Is that going to continue when we go back, or is this here to stay?
I would have to imagine there's going to be certain things that are definitely going to transfer over. As I said, the ease in which you can see and respond to student work is something that I would like to transition back to in-person learning. But at the same time, I also think it comes down to what the students want a little bit. And it's going to have to be a hybrid because there's some things that they don't like as much about it. So I think, I don't want to say what I'm going to do until like seeing how students react to that back in classroom space. But there's definitely some pieces of technology and some programs we're using that I think would be pretty effective in person.
Well, that's great. Hey, listen, I'll let you go. You've had a long day. What time do you start in the morning with these kids?
My first meeting was at 8. So.
Wow. And then you had professional development this afternoon on top of school?
Yeah, 8 to 4. I didn't get off Zooms.
Oh, man. I don't know how you guys do it. That's awesome. Hey, any message, we send this out to a lot of our supporters throughout the city. Any message to the folks out there that you want to convey?
Yeah, I think that the number one question I get asked by my friends who aren't teachers is, what do you do about students who don't have good internet or don't have technology to learn at home? And I've been really happy and kind of proud to say, well, actually, the network I work at, we provide hotspots and we provide computers or iPads for every single student. And so that's been a big deal for me to be able to say and something I'm very proud of. So to the people who are giving money and supporting the network, like, thank you. It really does make a big difference. And I think, I think it's been incredible that we've been able to do that.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate. We have a lot of generous people. So, all right, Riley, listen, thank you so much for joining me today. And to everybody else out there, as Riley pointed out, if you want to help make sure that, I just got a call from our IT person. We have to place an order for another 40 hotspots, I think, because of either more kids coming into the network or other issues. But anyway, if you want to help, go to breakthroughschools.org and click on the Victory Fund. And that's where you can make a contribution to make sure Riley's kids and all of our other hundreds of teachers' kids have access to the technology they need so they can keep learning while we go through this. So with that, Riley, thanks again, buddy. And Jay-Z checking out from downtown Cleveland, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.